Having a jungle champion that you're really comfortable with can be the decider between winning and losing. Most tier lists and videos on YouTube will tell you the same crap patch after patch, season after season. There's always a champion on top because of Riot's frequent balancing. You just have to look at the statistics and make a video on it. Nidalee is super OP right now, S+ free LP, but that is so far from the truth. When she gets nerfed, most of these videos move on to another champion. Now it's Kha'Zix, then it's Rengar, then it's Graves and blah blah blah. They just tell you what to pick, but they never explain why. That is the goal of this series. Check out the top lane version of this if you are interested. It's all on this channel. In this video, however, I will talk about 5 jungle champions that will work no matter what. I will tell you why they work, what their strengths are, and how to play them. The most important thing about jungling is consistency and versatility. Your teammates are playing League of Legends. You are playing jungle. Keep that in mind. Being able to read the game in real time is what separates the bad junglers from the better ones. What is happening right now? How can I affect the map? What is the other jungler doing right now and how do I respond? Those 3 questions should be in your head at all times when playing jungle, and they should be on a loop. If you learn this skill, jungle becomes much easier. When playing jungle, you want to avoid champions on a timer for maximum consistency. Why do pro junglers never play Rengar or Nidalee or Shaco? Because they are difficult to pull off against better players. You need early game success on these champions or you lose. If you reach the mid game and you don't have a lead on these type of champions, you don't offer anything. Hence why there is a timer on them. Obviously you can still play them, but it's just making it harder for yourself. These 5 champions that I'm about to talk about have a purpose in every stage of the game. Early game, mid game, late game. They perform very well in most elos, and they are very straightforward. Each of them have their own special playstyle, but they all perform what you expect of them, as long as you learn how to play them. These 5 champions are Udyr, Nocturne, Gwen, Brand and Jarvin. There are more champions like Diana, Shyvana, Rammus, Karthus, Lilia, etc. that are really good, but I want to highlight these 5 champions especially. Let's start off with Jarvin. Jarvin is one of the most played jungle champions in pro play over many years. He is very simple and offers the same thing regardless if he's 3-0 or 0-3. His gank and teamfight setup is where his value is. You can farm with him if nothing is going on and you want to get to your items faster. You can gank early if you think it's worth it. Best case scenario, you kill them. Worst case scenario, they have to blow flash and you continue farming. It's always a win-win. You can invade and steal jungle camps because it's so easy for you to get over walls. Jarvin is great versus champions with low mobility, like Jinx or Twisted Fate, because he can really abuse them. His engage has a lot of range, and even if you don't one-shot someone, holding the enemy in one place just allows your team to deal the damage for you. Jarvin is best played as a bruiser, but you can go full lethality damage and just dunk on people if you want to have some extra fun, but the risk of losing is higher. Bruiser Jarvin deals just enough damage to be a threat and be just tanky enough to survive an all-in. Jarvin's only purpose is to facilitate his carries. If my team is strong, I can engage and my team will win the fight for me. If my team is weak, I will hold my EQ and ult and wait for someone to get close to my team and isolate themselves. It's really that simple. Next up we have Brand, who is one of my new favorites over the last year. Brand's biggest advantage is his clear speed and the fact that nobody expects his damage output in a teamfight. They know that you deal damage, but they never know how much. The enemy team can catch you and think, hey look, we caught Brand, let's kill him, what the fuck happened, how did we all die? That's usually how it goes. Brand's early game is literally just about farming your jungle on repeat. Run Ghost instead of Flash for easier ganks and teamfights, because being faster allows you to dodge multiple spells and be in range to deal your damage. Try to always proc your AoE damage in teamfights. You clear the jungle so fast that you will always have a tempo advantage, as long as you know what you're doing. You have really good damage versus objectives like Dragon, Grubs or Baron, and your ganks are pretty straightforward. You use Ghost, you run up to them, you use your E, you Q them for the stun, you drop a W on their head, and you walk away, and you watch them burn. If your laner is dead, walk up, one-shot the wave, leave. Time is money, baby. Just make sure that your fights always take place around something important. Fight for an objective, otherwise the fight is meaningless and you could be farming instead. As Brand, you are the carry, so let your team die for you and try not the frontline. Never use your full combo in the mid to late game on a single person, then you will just waste his damage. Hit the normal rotation, wait for cooldowns. Hit the normal rotation, wait for cooldowns. Enemy team looks a bit grouped up, drop the big combo and watch the fireworks. Then we move on to Gwen. Gwen is a champion with a very simple philosophy, and that philosophy is called F my team. Gwen does not care about anything or anyone. The only thing that matters is farm, farm, farm. Early game you clear out your first rotation. You recall, you buy items, you run back. You clear the second rotation. Are there any free ganks? No? Go back to farming. Is the enemy jungler top? Take dragon. Is the enemy jungler bot? Take grubs or invade. Farm, farm, farm. The reason for this playstyle is that Gwen becomes a different champion at 1 to 2 items. In the early game, she is very slow and does not hit very hard without stacking her Q, so farming is just better use of your time. Then in the mid game, once you get Nash's Tooth, you start dealing a lot of damage and you hit like a truck. Once you get Riftmaker, you start to feel tankier and you can go to a target, mow them down, move to the next target, kill them too. Gwen becomes very overwhelming at 2 items. Her damage, her true damage, her ult slow, her dashing, her W on target ability. A good Gwen will use all those tools to run people down one by one. Another underrated thing about Gwen is her tower damage. Let's say you're not strong enough to teamfight 5 versus 5 because your team is weaker. Go split push. If they send a person to stop you, then you get a 1v1 where you should win, and you can take the tower in a couple of autos. Next up we have Nocturne. Nocturne is one of the most hated and banned champions in solo queue, and that is because of one reason. People hate how he plays the map. Nocturne's biggest power is the ability to turn a 1v1 into a 1v2 or a 2v2 into a 3v2. His ability to control the map is up there with the likes of Pantheon, Twisted Fate and Karthus. The difference is that he is very difficult for people to fight because of his kit. He deals a lot of damage, he is very fast with his Q, his spell shield is very useful, his fear makes fighting him an actual nightmare, no pun intended. You have a lot of options in the early game. You can full clear, you can invade, you can gank, and it all works very well because Nocturne is really strong in the early game. Once you reach level 6, you literally just look for a lane that is overextending and you ult on top of them and you kill them. Sometimes the panic that you generate from just pressing R is enough to win you the fight, because people split away from each other and start running in random directions. In the mid game, you literally just wait for people to show up alone on a ward or in a lane and you get a free kill. And then you snowball that kill into an objective. You can't really dive a 1v5 into a team and kill everyone. That's not how Nocturne plays. You have to play slow and methodical. Build him as a bruiser, not as an assassin. Riot's biggest bait is not showing bruiser items in the recommended list when people are playing Nocturne. They show the assassin items. Bruiser Nocturne is tanky and still kills people. Assassin Nocturne is made out of paper and will die before he kill anyone if he's against good players. Always go Bruiser. And then finally we have Udyr. Udyr is probably the best user of the most broken and overpowered stat in the entire game, movement speed. The thing about Udyr is that he's hard to catch, he's extremely good at just running up to people, he's very tanky and he deals a lot of damage. You have 2 major playstyles with him, depending on what you like. Single target damage with Qmax, or AoE teamfighter with Rmax. You can go AD or AP, or bruiser or full tank, depending on what your team needs, so you always have a playstyle. His early game is very simple, because you farm very fast and you have very easy gank access. You can kill objectives very fast, and if you are ever in a skirmish, you can win if you're stronger, or if you feel that you're weaker, you always have the option of running away and they can't catch you. Every time a weaker champion shows up in a side lane, you can run up to them with your movement speed and kill them. Udyr in reality is all about tempo abusing. Once you have an opportunity for a play where the enemy team can't respond, you go for it. Udyr's weakness is being kited and his team not doing enough damage. He's not really a champion that one-shots an entire team like Diana or Brand. He's more of a champion that runs in, kills someone, stuns someone, shields, runs out, wait for another good opportunity and run in again. Most champions in the game will find it very hard to keep up with a good Udyr. And because of the fact that all of his spells are basically stances, he is very easy to play and the effort to reward ratio on Udyr is very high. Those are my 5 recommended jungle champions for anyone who wants to play and climb in the jungle role. They are easy to play, they function well, and they are very fun in my experience. You will climb with them if you apply the jungle basics and most of all stay consistent. What champions do you like in the jungle and why? Let me know, share it in the comments below. I hope this video helped you and that you find it useful. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I am now back with some more frequent League of Legends content and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.